provided by the speakers and or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
Trinidad, it's back for 2 nights only. The explosive hit comedy stage play by Alan Charles. Why Didn't I Get Married? It's not good for a man to be alone. But what about the black woman? Is the church guilty of keeping women single? Or is there really a man shortage? Come laugh, cry, and think at a show that's more than a play. It's a conversation, not for the easily offended. Saturday, 1st November, 7 p.m. at USC Auditorium, Maracas, St. Joseph. Sunday, 9th November, 6 p.m. at Sapa, San Fernando. Tickets for the USC campus, $200 in advance, $225 at the door. Tickets for Sapa, $225 in advance, and $250 at the door. Get them at USC campus, A&A Pharmacy, Port of Spain, Maranatha Bookshop, San Fernando, Living Legacy Pharmacy, Arima, or online at theticketsellers.co.uk. Why Didn't I Get Married? Don't miss the comedy that everyone will be talking about. Brought to you by the University of the Southern Caribbean and Focus Arts Promotions.
I recall more than 3 decades ago, a senior telecommunications manager, let's call him Michael. And Michael was assigned to the task of presenting the government's position at a regional conference. Michael struggled and visibly trembled, especially since he presented after the retired North American ambassador, who had the audience in stitches, laughing up every word. I'm Dr. Madonna Dodd. And I made a silent vow then to help people like Michael, who are technically competent, but who struggle and succumb to fear when speaking in public. Now, as a communications architect, I partner with organizations and individual leaders to transform their leadership presence, including the way they express themselves. So, if your goal is to amplify your authentic voice, influence others, and lead with confidence, join me from October 28th to November 11th for our Communicate with Confidence online course. To all the Michaels, it's possible to overcome fear, step fully into your role, and lead with confidence.
During our 3 weeks course, I gained a lot of knowledge and insight on how to communicate with confidence using the different techniques and skills taught. Another thing that resonated for me is the fact that the same way singers prepare their voice, increase their lung capacity by eating healthy, doing the necessary breathing exercises, is the same way someone who is going to present should also prepare their voice. For persons who are interested in participating in this course, I say go for it, because you too will be able to find your coping skills, or how the runners and they psych up themselves when they're on the start line before they start to be focused to finish that race. You would be able to find your coping mechanism.
You give your hand to me and let me say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and everyone can tell.
Hey guys, I am Nigel O'Connor, a singer for all seasons. I am that voice that moves you for every occasion. I am that voice that celebrates life moments one note at a time. I am Nigel O'Connor. You can contact me at 783-0054 or 754-3154. And oh yes, that's me singing in the background.
Nowadays I'm not speaking songs.
Bad maths, you know. Poor people, boy. It feel like they beating me one by one, 2 by 2, it's a 2 by 4. The more we add to the table, they keep taking away more and more. 99% suffering, and they say and they not for sure. Plus the 1% controlling, 100% of the lives of the poor, lives of the poor. It's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. Take our power from a Rima to town. It's not enough. Our daily is almost 2 hours long. It's not enough. Every month is another 1,000 in gas. It's not enough. And when salary come, you don't know when it's last. It's not enough. $5 to take a short drop. 10 to tongue with a million subs. Can depend on the bus, cause the system flop. So you're spinning like a top on your body. You must say, you must say. You must say, no. If they are in love at all, and you must say, you must say, you must say, if they are in love at all, no. If they are in love at all, see me them on way salary and TNT. There is so much money. It's $3,053 monthly. Parent and you buy groceries. You can't even pay transportation fee. Yeah, what you should do? It's not enough. You need cash so you sweep and mop. So you don't end up bankrupt. School fees and bills, none of them don't drop. You stay poor, it stay tough. You must say, Martin. You must say, Martin. You must say, Martin. If they are in love at all, and you must say, Martin. You must say. Mortgage sky high, plus 20% just to qualify. When you feel the hardest part out of the way, after you qualify, it's 30 years to pay. Lord, is it not enough? Scream your sick banking corrupt, and they're robbing people non-stop, taking your money from your drop by drop till you all with a prop on your body. They must say, they must say. They must say, no. If they are in love at all, they must say, they must say, they must say, no. If they are in love at all, I should have given enough. It's not enough. The reason, it's not enough. I should have given enough. Like a drop, don't do the drop. Because I feel like me 1 by 1, 2 by 2, it's a 2 by 4. The more we add to the table, the keep taking away more and more. 99% suffering, and they play another. Plus the 1% Bad maths, you know. Poor people, boy. It feel like they mixing me 1 by 1, 2 by 2, it's a 2 by 4. The more we add to the table, they keep taking away more and more. 99% suffering, and they say and enough for sure. Plus the 1% controlling 100% of the lives of the poor, lives of the poor. It's not enough, 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 it's not enough. Lord, it should take our power from a Rima to town. It's not enough. Our daily is almost 2 hours long. It's not enough. Every month is another 1,000 in years. It's not enough. And when salary come, you don't know when it's past. Lord, it's not enough. $5 to take a short drop. 10 to town with a million subs. Can depend on the bus, cause the system flop. So you're spinning like a top on your body. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. No! You say I didn't know what's all. And you might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. No! You say I didn't know what's all. No, no. You say I didn't know what's all. See me them on way salary and TNT. There is so much going on. It's $3,053 monthly. And after your parents and you buy groceries, there's over 3,000 already. You can't even pay transportation fee. Yeah, what you should do? It's not enough. You need cash so you sweep and mop. So you do end up bankrupt, school fees and bills, none of them don't drop. You stay for it, stay top time. You must say, Martin. You must say, Martin. You must say, Martin. You say I did my battle and you must say, Martin. You must say, Martin. You must say, Martin. You say I did my battle. No, no. You say I did my battle. Lord, the price of mortgage sky high. A plus 20% just to qualify. When you feel the hardest part out of the way, after you qualify, it's 30 years to pay. Lord, is it not enough? Scream yes if banking corrupt, and they're robbing people non-stop, taking your money from your drop by drop, till you hold with a prop on your body. They might say, Martin. They might say, Martin. They might say, Martin. No. They say I need my battle, and they might say, Martin. They might say, Martin. They might say, Martin. No. They say I need my battle. I should have been enough. It's not enough. The reason it's not enough. I should have been enough. Like a drop, don't do the drop. Because I feel like they mixing me 1 by 1, 2 by 2, it's a 2 by 4. The more we add to the table, they keep taking away more and more. 99% suffering, and they say plus the 1% control.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Matson, that is what Chucky said under the PNM, you know. Chucky said that under the PNM, that the Matson. I want every Matson now. I don't know. I just asking for a friend. I know that under the People's National Movement, the Mats was not Matson at all, Chucky. It wasn't Matson. But this is Matt. I wonder if the Matson no. Mats might be Matson now, you know. For some people it wasn't Matson, but no, the Mats might be Matson. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, by extension, the world. Those of you who locked on, wherever you're listening to me, thank you very much for joining me on Constructive Talk. Remember to share the live. Remember, the only way that we can really get this thing pumping is if you get people to come on the live and get them familiar with the discussion and the talk. We talk current affairs and issues, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but by extension, the world. We tell people what's going on in England. We tell people what's going on in Pakistan. We tell people what's going on in Canada. We talk about all over the world. We discuss issues. But mainly, in mainstream is Trinidad Talk, we talk. And so much to talk about. I didn't have a program yesterday. Let me apologize for not coming on yesterday. Technical difficulties. I'll put it down as technical difficulties. And I want to thank the brother who sought out the technical difficulty today. He will be on tomorrow, please God. That brother who I'm talking about. But I want to thank him. I want to put it out there. I want to thank that brother. I'm not going to call his name. For really coming through for Constructive Talk. Some of you love Constructive Talk. You love the talk, you love the interaction, you love the information. But let me tell you this, to do this is not cheap. And to do this in the situation that I am in is not sometimes fair. You know what I mean? While some of you might think that I have and I haven't, no. So sometimes, all I will say is sometimes when you all see me put up this information and ask you all to genuinely help with this situation, you all might be thinking it's a joke. Oh, yeah. So when I put up this information, and I ask you to make your contributions to keep Constructive Talk on the air. To keep Constructive Talk on the air. You might think, well, oh, whatever. Yeah, you don't care. But I am asking those of you who genuinely want this program to stay on YouTube and on Facebook. It takes internet. So I have to pay Amplia to stay on. I don't just stay on here because I go by the box, that green box, that black box over there and blow in it. No, I don't blow in the box and the box operates, No, it don't operate like that. It don't operate like that. Okay? I'm being straight up here with you guys this evening. It don't operate like that. It don't operate by me going to that black box in the corner of my home and blowing it. And you who listening from Brooklyn, Canada, Atlanta, wherever, automatically gets to see me. No, the bill have to be paid. And I was once an employee at 91.9. I was once an employee at Talk City, 90.91. Whatever it was, can't remember. Right? And when the government changed, I was changed. And I decided to create this platform so that you and others we can talk to each other. We can interact with each other, and I can inform you all on all that is happening in Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension the world. But this cannot happen with me blowing in the box. No, I don't blow in the box. So what I want to do this evening, before I start any discussion, is to ask you guys to please contribute. You all asked me for account number, You all were asking for that. You all were begging for it. I've put it up, and I'm asking you guys to please contribute towards Constructive Talk. Is that okay? Is that okay? So I'm asking, is that okay for you all to do? Is it asking for too much? So I'm going to leave it up, and I'm going to ask you guys to take down the information and let me know if I'm going to take some time for you all to let me know if you all are going to be willing to help me keep Constructive Talk on the air.
tire. People spitting fire. And every talking head having their say. For in this mix up land that we call Trimbago. Trimbago. Many times it does just relevant question today. Now that the man tire, people spitting fire, and every talking head having their say. For in this mix up land that we call Trimbago, Trimbago, many times it does just relevant question today. Now that the man tire, people spitting fire, and every talking head having their say. For in this mix up land that we call Trimbago, Trimbago, many times it does just relevant question today. Now that the man tire, people spitting fire, and every talking head having their say. For in this mix up land that we call Trimbago, Trimbago, many times it does just relevant question today. Now that the man tire, people spitting fire, and every talking head.
All right, so as I would have said just now, and I want to thank all of you who would have indicated on the live that you're going to help me, that you're going to keep Constructive Talk live on YouTube and on Facebook. Again, as I said, if you're now joining me, what's happening is that I need your support. I need your support. I need your support. If I don't get your support, then Constructive Talk will not be on. And if you don't see me on, then you know why I am not on. Because I cannot maintain or keep Constructive Talk live on YouTube and on Facebook because I can't pay the internet bill. Let's just be real. I'm being straightforward. Let's cut to the chase. So make your contributions so that Constructive Talk can stay on. And I'm just asking you all to indicate. And I'm seeing some people saying yes, yes. Some people saying will do. And I am appreciative and thankful for those of you who would have indicated on YouTube. I don't know what Facebook is saying. So those of you on Facebook, again, the call is out there for you guys. I'm seeing some people put a thumbs up. And some people are okay. So let's get into it. This evening, what I want to talk about is certain things that have been happening in Trinidad and Tobago. There are a lot of things that have been happening in Trinidad and Tobago other than the budget. I'm going to talk about the budget. Don't get that. We're going to talk about other things concerning the budget. right? We're going to talk about things concerning the budget for sure. For sure. We're going to be talking things that pertain to the budget. But most of all, we're going to be talking what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. So, this evening, as you all know, is today's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, and I can't see the old man, you know. If I see the old man, I will get buff. The young boy is on the line. Good evening, Dad. How are you? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Good evening, Dad. How are you?
Good evening. What's the song? Yeah, hello. Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Dad. You hear me?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, but I want to make sure you hear good.
All right.
Right. You're sounding good there now.
All right. Okay, no problem.
All right. So talk to me. What going on?
I'm there. How you doing? And good evening to you. Good evening to your listeners.
Nah, whatever you do there, that ain't working.
Not working?
Nah, that way you do there now is sounding better.
All right.
So somebody callers somebody listeners were complaining when you were last on, you were coming and going. You were not singing steady.
So how it is now?
Better.
All right. All right. Well, good evening once again to you. Good evening to your listeners.
So what's going on, Papa?
Well, I'm good. I'm coping. You know, celebrating the brand new budget.
You're celebrating.
Yeah.
What?
What I fail to realize is that super is $1 less, you know.
Uh-huh.
That is $200 I save in a month.
Right.
Yeah, Auntie Kamala is our boss. She real come good with this budget. I saving $200 a month. That's plenty money. You know what I could do with that? You know what things I could buy with $200 every month? I could buy all the salt I want.
I know that I sting in the tail with this $200. I know it had a sting in the tail with that 200. You could be just celebrating that 200 just so.
I could buy all the Moby I want. I could buy all the coconut water I want.
Jesus.
Right? So I looking with that $200 I save in there. I looking at average at 5 coconut water a week, 10 pounds of salt. Right? 10 bottle of Moby. And I good. $200 a month I saving at the pump.
Okay.
Right? And everybody happy. You know, it have a particular politician like to talk about how African people are not smart. And how African people always voting for PNM because PNM have African people stripping. Well, boy, I was surprised to see how many people of East Indian descent fall for this budget. At least I was a little comforted to know that it's not we alone who are dotish. I thought it was my race alone that dotish. But now, somebody comments I read in there. Somebody comments I read in there. Nah. I don't believe that anybody would have fallen for that budget.
You'll be surprised.
But I'll tell you this, sir. Jesus made a statement. He said, wisdom is justified of her children. Wisdom is justified of her children. You know what that statement means, son?
Tell me.
Smart people will always know better. And the children of wisdom are always in the minority. Jesus understood that. Jesus made some critical statements that we need to understand why people fell for that budget. Another statement Jesus said, he said, the poor you have with you always. So there was nothing about Jesus' ministry that was designed to eradicate poverty. The poor you have with you always. A man who is making that statement is not a man who intends to eradicate poverty or the mentality of poverty. It's the statement of a man who understood the mentality of poverty and understood that that mentality would hold sway among the majority of humans, and it would be like that for the next 2,000 plus years as it has been since he made that statement 2,000 years ago. You want to know what that had to do with the budget?
Tell me.
Good. Jesus ever made anybody rich?
Not to my knowing.
As far as you know, Jesus ever made anybody rich?
Not to my knowing.
No, that is a critical statement, because Jesus said it was easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle, and we know what a needle was. It's not the needle that we sew with. The needle was a pretty low bar, all right, something a little bit higher than what a limbo dancer would go under. And when the Middle Eastern men were bringing in their camels and stuff, the camels would have to pass under the needle, and as long as the hump got under, then they would be safe for the night.
Right.
And some camels would have some difficulty getting in the needle, but once they got past the needle, then they would be pretty safe for the night. But Jesus said it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. He gave another parable about a rich man who had a lot of money and all of that, and then an angel of God appeared to him and said, tonight thy soul shall be required of thee. Jesus didn't have many nice things to say about rich people. That is number one. And then he almost discouraged it. He said, lay not up for yourselves treasures on earth, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. So as far as I'm concerned, Jesus was anti-rich. The prosperity gospel that a lot of people feel that, some politician will come and make you rich. Politicians understand that because I listened to what Fuad Khan had to say. And Fuad Khan was saying he is for the 1%.
Fuad Khan? The doctor. I get worried, David. I get worried there. No? Yeah. I thought you was talking about Abu Bakar's son. No.
No. Fuad Khan said in a little clip he posted, I think it's TikTok or one of them, and he said, the budget is not a budget that's helping the 1%. And if the 1% gets discouraged and they leave and they pack up shop, and Samakals and Clico no longer. Clico was the richest conglomerate in Trinidad and Tobago, followed by Samakal. And we have the Bagwan Singh Empire and all of that. He said if these people pack up and leave Trinidad and Tobago, and we have a budget that's not treating them too nicely, we coming down hard on their cigars and on their cigarettes and their rum and their alcohol, and importation of luxury vehicles and all of that. He said if we come down too hard on them and they leave this country, who will hire the poor people? I was surprised to hear Fuad Khan said that. Now I remember our great leader, Dr. Rowley, at one time came and he said something to that effect on a morning show where he said, well, the 1% is who hires the 99%. And if we get rid of the 1%, then a lot of jobs would be lost. Now, when you hear politicians speaking like that is the policy of the Republican Party. You'd hear Donald Trump saying that we have to protect the rich because the rich hires the poor. All right? And some people go along with that philosophy. It's a classic capitalism philosophy. But it feeds right into the mentality where Jesus said, the poor you have with you always. And Jesus never made anybody rich. One time the multitude was hungry, and he said, here, what do we have here? And a young man said, well, we have 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Jesus said, give it to me. And he multiplied it, and he fed how many thousand people, but nobody left rich. Everybody went home and had to make supper. And that, to me, is a very telling thing. Because it goes to show that number one, we have to stop looking to politicians to help us save money or to help us make money. All right? The people who are poor under the PNM will be poor under the UNC. Save and accept in 1 or 2. All right? Because we live in a capitalist system. And the politicians understand the mentality of the poor. And they know that to appease the poor, you just have to say, well, I'll take $1 off a gas, I'll give you this, will be VAT-free or whatever. Just throw a few crumbs. But it's a classic give and take budget. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand it. We don't have to get into all the gory details as to how landlords will go ahead and raise their rent because they have a one-time registration fee of $2,500 to pay. All right, and they will take that out on their tenants, and then they have a 2.5%, I think a 3.5% on up to 20,000, and then up to 30,000. So a landlord who is raking in a landlord who has 4 apartments rented at 5,000 a piece, that's 20,000 a month. All right, that's 240,000 a year. Right. He have some taxes to pay. It's a tax on the quote unquote rich people who make above average income. And a high income in America is considered when you're making up to $70,000.
Right.
Right? $70,000 plus a year. You're considered in the higher income, middle to higher income bracket. And if you were to do a little math, all right, 70,000. If you do it by 7, that's 490,000. That's about $500,000 TT a year.
Right.
All right. If we break that down, we say 12 3s, 36, 12 4s are 48. Right. So a Trinidadian who is making 48,000 a month, which is a parliamentarian salary. All right, a parliamentarian salary is 40-something thousand a month. They are in what is considered the high income bracket. It means that they could live pretty comfortably. They could live in a upscale neighborhood, which means you could afford a rent of between $8,000 and $15,000 a month. All right, they could pay for a decent car, $5,000-6,000 a month, and they could still have enough to save, and to make a decent grocery and to, live a good life and still put aside $10,000-15,000, 40-something thousand TT a month is considered decent as a parliamentarian salary. All right. So they're living good, plus all the perks and all the benefits that come with it. But as I said, under Dr. Rowley and under Kamala, whether it's the PNM or the UNC, a good friend of mine, he put it this way. He said 50 millionaires run the country every 5 years. 50 millionaires run this country every 5 years. And we have to understand what my good friend meant by that. From 2010 to 2015, it was the UNC was basically made up of 50 millionaires. Those guys are millionaires, most of them. Right? The PNM came and they took over. Most of those guys inside the PNM, inside there, they're already millionaires. Right? They have contracts there. They make a good salary. They make close to $1 million a year in salaries, And then together with their income and the other business ventures and stuff that they would have declared to the Integrity Commission, they're good to go. So that is a general type of thinking I want your listeners to understand that, one, we have to stop looking to politicians to help us save money or make money. They're not thinking about us. They are thinking about their political agenda. Number 2, with the loss of 10,000 jobs to CPEP, the reforestation program, the URP program, that has been permanently shelved. That's a cool 30,000 people on the breadline forever, not just for the next 5 years until 2030. All right, those programs have been shelved, and even if PNM comes back into power in 2030, all right, it will be held to pay to revive those programs. I have people calling me asking me if I want workers to buy, and people selling all the equipment, trying to make money for the Christmas. All right, and then a promise, an empty promise to give them permanent employment. Let me tell you something. And there's a reason why I started off saying what I'm saying with Jesus' statement of the poor you have with you always. In every society around the world, you will have those people who can't make it through the system. They can't make it through the system, right? They fall by the wayside, the 5 levels, and stuff on the English and math, and all these things. You have to understand you have to O levels now to work in KFC. A lot of people just not good with the books. They're just not good with the books, and there's a high percentage of people who fall below the 30% mark with a CXC and whatever, and they just fall through the cracks. All right, and the menial jobs are left for them to do. All right, and you will always have a class of people in society who the CPEP jobs and the URP jobs to clean the roads and the highways and byways and all of that. That is the best they could do. This nonsense about we trying to educate everybody and give people high-paying, sustainable jobs. The politicians know that that is nonsense. You will always have those people who that is the best they could do. You can't force them to go and learn English and pass math and get a passing grade. They struggle with books. All right, okay. All right. I mean, books is, is artificial learning, and not everybody will be cut out for it. All right, so what do we do with those people? They form a significant part of our population. We are 1.5 million people. We have people who picking up garbage and all of that. We have people cleaning the roads. I saw some guys that cleaning the drains inside by me, and I watching them. I went and I talked to them. I say how things going. They say, boy, Kamala hit we hard. Hit we hard. They say, we watching your grass, big man. And as years, we cutting your grass. He said, but we had to fall back now on the borough now and the county, and we could just do the little drains and thing. The money small, Christmas coming up. And I watching the grass outside my house. Everybody yard looking real bad now in here. Right? It's looking bad. The little periphery, the little outside of here that CPAP used to take care of. It's looking bad. The savannah in a mess. I talk to my friends down in Savannah Villas there, and West Villas, they say the same thing. They say people coming and dumping rubbish in Arangwes Villas down there. The place looking bad. All right. No, I am telling you, right? You listening to me?
Loud and clear.
I am telling you. I can't keep my place looking so all the time. So I saw a Waka man passing. Well, he's smiling. He only smiling because he never worked with CPAP. He always independent. He just walk around with 3 men and he just walk at everybody here. So I see him, I say, big man, are you looking good by handle, man? $250 charge, man. $250. Now, if I had to walk every 2 weeks to keep my front decent, I $500.
How much you say was saving in the gas? You feel I don't listen? You feel I don't listen to you or what?
Listen, that little jokey, stupid gas money that I see black hen chicken and Indian head chicken jumping around in this country, balling, Kamla, give you a blind. That money finishing so far. You don't know where that money going. And I think it's this social media personality, his name is Rambles. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, Rambles, yeah.
Right, Rambles did a pretty decent breakdown of an average young black couple and how they're going to survive for the next 5 years. Now, I've been doing that for years now. Because I've been encouraging the black youth to try and get a piece of land and build a house brick by brick and stop giving away all your rent money. Because the 99% of the rent money that Africans pay, they pay to Indian people. And I don't have a problem with Indian people. I have Indian members in my church. But the Indians, they build their house, however they build it. All right? They do take mortgages. 73% of all mortgages in Trinidad and Tobago is black people. right? Including of all the mortgages people take to get the NH and the HDC and all of that. Basically, it's black people who buy houses. A lot of Indian people squat, right? And they build a house over time and they apply to the state, and after occupying the land for 30 years, they get it for free. And then they build a big family house and they fight over the land or whatever. But they don't take mortgages. Mortgages is a black people thing in this country, right? So Rambles attempted to break down, how it will be for a young African couple. Now that landlord have to go and register his apartments with a one-time fee of $2,500. And then he has to pay basically what is a property tax. Now, this will make for the government about $390 million, which is just around what the property tax when it's up and running. In Trinidad and Tobago is black people, right? Including of all the mortgages people take to get the NH and the HDC and all of that. Basically, it's black people who buy houses. I don't think.
But wait, but just now, Dad, let's break this thing down a little bit, right? So property tax was for people who own property, right?
Yeah.
People
Everybody residential.
All right, yeah, but let's just see, because it would have been a one-off, or it would have been in such a way that it was really for the people who own. Even if you didn't, if you're not renting, let's say somebody not renting, right? They're not renting their property, but they own it, right? It was for people who own their properties. People who didn't own properties, right, was saying, okay, if I rented from a man and he had to pay property tax, I had to pay. He will raise the rent on me in order to pay property tax. Now, when you listen to people some people, because up to today I was talking to somebody and they were saying to me that their property tax was $1,200 for the year, right? And they were thinking that that's for them that was small money because it was less than $100 a month or something like that when they check it up. So, but if you would check, if they were renting from somebody, the person who they're renting from wasn't going to raise the rent by $100 to pay the property tax. That person would have seen that as a venture to raise their rent to get more income.
Well, that is what always happens. If I'm a landlord, right, and my tenant's paying $3,500 a month,
I add enough 500. I add enough 500, 400, and I'll put the 100 towards. I'll put the 100 towards the property tax, and the 400 I put that towards wherever.
Are using the opportunity of the property tax to raise everybody
to wet here. But listen to this though.
Right. So.
But listen to this though, Dad. The property tax that they're going to tax on commercial buildings. If that means that if I was paying $100 for a haircut, the barber who is using a commercial building will now have to raise the haircut to maybe $150 because he have to pay the landlord the rent that he raised. So your haircut is going to go up.
Listen, isn't it a fact that it's always the small man who has to pay?
Of course. And so when you say that, let's play. We'll get into now what the minister had to say. You hear what the minister had to say? One of the ministers in the Ministry of Finance had to say?
Let me know.
I'll let you hear what he had to say. Listen to Mr. Surat Singh, I don't know if he's still a priest, but listen to what Surat Singh had to say. Priest.
We cannot be in a country where people are making money and generating income and so on and finding and not being able to carry their fair share.
But that's what we've been seeing, unfortunately. And it feels as though oftentimes when we end up in that situation, it just trickles down. So even if, you might say, well, okay, you making plenty of money, so I will tax you accordingly. And what we've seen is that they take that tax, say, they'll pay the tax, no problem. But then the consumer, in the end, is who has to end up paying more money for the service that that company is providing.
If it is you go to a restaurant, you charge him or stay home and cook.
You hear what he say?
I kind of, it was the other thing. But tell me what he said.
He said, if you go to a restaurant and you can't afford the food, then stay home and cook.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you go KFC and you can't buy the KFC, then stay home and cook.
Right.
Don't carry out your wife to know all that luxury thing, but you carry out your wife for dinner, for anniversary and whatever, birthday and well, stay home and cook.
Cold pot.
Well, we had a problem with the cold pot and breadfruit.
Remember that comment?
Yeah. But this one now is saying to you, if you can't afford the restaurant food, stay home and cook.
You know why he could say that?
Tell me.
He could say that because he could afford the restaurant.
Oh.
And taxpayers paying the rest for his restaurant food.
Of course, because
so
he have entertainment. He have entertainment allowance.
He have entertainment allowance. Every day they eat in Hilton and in Hyatt. So because he could say that, he could come and talk that crap and that go bar. All right, and pee on the small man and tell the small man if you can't afford it, stay home and hush him out.
Stay home and cook.
That I'm saying. Yeah.
How different is this?
CPEP and URP was meant to do two things. Keep black people poor and stupid and to put big money in finances' pocket. CPEP and URP is a money. CPEP and URP was meant to do two things. Keep black people poor and stupid and to put big money in finances' pocket. CPEP and URP was meant to do two things. Keep black people poor and stupid and to put...
All right, so now that we do have CPEP, and now that we do have URP, black people rich and smart now? Because if it was meant to keep us poor and stupid, then the UNC has a plan to make black people rich and smart. Has that happened?
No.
Black people poorer now. And they're feeling very stupid, especially the ones who went and vote for Kamala, and she come and take food off the table. That is why I say politicians always say what is expedient. It's easy for Philip Alexander to talk that go-bar. Right? It's easy for him to come and talk that. But then, what have you done? What have you done to raise the profile of black people out of this stupid poor mentality that the PNM has had us in for years? Where are they now? Are they poorer or are they richer?
Because I want to just stick on the budget concept a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to
I want to talk about how it's directly affecting people.
All right. So listen to this then. Listen to this.
All right.
Trinidad and Tobago. Here's something the media probably won't tell you about the new budget. To get into it, let's first compare the UNC's 2026 budget to the PNM's 2025 budget. The UNC government is projecting $55 billion in revenue for 2026, just slightly higher than the $54 billion in revenue under the PNM. On the spending side, they're increasing allocations across the board on things like healthcare, education, national security, and the THA, while managing to keep total expenditures almost the exact same as last year under the PNM, at $59 billion. But as usual under the PNM and the UNC, the devil is in the details. I read the budget so that you don't have to. The first thing that stands out is how is the government showing a higher revenue figure when the price of oil is estimated to be lower? The government is banking on a nearly 300% increase year over year in profits and royalties from non-financial state-owned enterprises, including adding a total of $8.3 billion in new borrowing and $9.5 billion in new foreign-held debt. In fact, according to government documents, borrowing now makes up 26% of the government's total revenue, compared to 19.7% under the PNM. So that's the revenue side. On the expenses side, how can the government show an increase in spending across the board, healthcare, education, training, while managing to keep total expenditures the same as last year? In the details of the budget documents, it looks like they're temporarily creating the space this year by lowering debt servicing costs. They're doing this in part by refinancing and pushing out loan repayments into the year 2040 and beyond. Now, there are a lot of things in this budget to like. The $1 drop in supergas, increased investments into healthcare, education, training, and the 10% PSA increase. But it also comes with likely unaffordable increases in the cost of living for almost everyone. New property taxes and landlord levies, which will increase rent costs, the electricity surcharge, new excise taxes on alcohol and luxury vehicles, higher import fees and customs duties, and potentially higher costs of banking, which is already challenging. And despite all of those new tax measures, along with the increase in NIS contributions and the increase in the NIS eligibility age, the budget also comes with massive amounts of new foreign-held debt, which the younger generations will have to pay for. Time will tell if this strategy pays off for Trinidad and Tobago. Let me know what you think in the comments.
What do you think about?
I saw that.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, I listened to it today. All right. Okay, let me mention the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. All right, let me just talk about that a little bit. Do you know who established the Heritage and Stabilization Fund?
Mr. Manning?
Which is no.
Mr. Pandey?
Basdeo Pandey. Right? Which is basically a savings, right? Do you know how a government gets access to the HSF?
Tell us.
Okay. So you inflate the price of oil, as this Minister of Finance did, and they say we are pegging this budget on an oil price of $73 a barrel. We peg our oil prices. You could go and Google it now while I'm speaking on West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude. The WTI or the BC? West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude. So that is our guide, more with WTI, as to what the price of oil would be in the coming year. And it's $50, $53. This Minister of Finance, instead of $53, he pegged the budget on our oil price, a projected oil price of $73. When that happens, and we end up in a deficit, because the budget was pegged on an inflated oil price, he can now go to the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, and if we are in deficit of $20 billion, he can borrow 60% of the difference.
Right.
You understand what I just say?
Say it one more time.
Yeah. All right. So you inflate the price of oil and build your budget around an artificially inflated oil price. No full well knowing the oil price for the next year would be $53, you base your budget on an oil price of $73.
Okay.
So basically, you're telling the country that you're making much more money than you know that you would really make.
Right.
Yeah, you understand?
Yeah.
Because your base is like you're selling eggs, and you tell your child, here, what? When I sell them eggs, I'll be able to buy a nice little book bag for you, right?
Yeah.
Normally, they'll sell the egg. The selling price of eggs is like $12 per egg. All right. So I just make $144 anytime I sell a dozen. But you tell them, here, what? I could get my egg sold for $20. Right? So I'm expecting $240 on a dozen now. And you tell your child, when I get that $240, I'll be able to buy whatever it is you want for $120 because I'm going to make real money, much more money than I know I can make when I go out there. Nobody buy my eggs for $20 for one. They're buying it for $12. But I told my son, I promised my son something on an egg price of $20. The Heritage and Stabilization Fund is just for that. It's to stabilize an unbalanced budget. So I can now go and say here what I tell the people is the oil price will be $73, and I promise them ABC. The oil price turned out to be $53. So I need to borrow some money. And you could actually get 60% of the difference. That is the oldest trick in the book. The oldest trick. Other than that, you had to go IMF on. All right, good. So that happened in this budget. Things like that fly over the heads of the poor man. Most people don't have the frame of reference. A frame of reference is a base of knowledge that gives you the ability to process things politicians say. So when politicians start to talk about things like the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, right, and they start to talk about things like the special economic zone, right? That's what they're talking about now with all these banks and these insurance companies, that they want them to pay some 0.25%, except those who are under the SEZ. The small man who walk in the road and are driving a truck, right, and mixing all concrete and making his money. He don't know what's the special economic zone. He not going and Google that. And even if he Google it and he try to read it, he wouldn't understand it. So that part of the budget is alien to him. Heritage and Stabilization Fund, real big word. The average man, they understand what it is the politicians say. The politicians know that. And they know it's only a few people who in the know would understand what it is they are talking about. But when you dig deep, they're really protecting the interest of the 1%. They're making it look as though we coming at them, so the small man will relax now, boy. Wait, boy, coming at them rich people, boy. Wait. Now budget come at them rich people. Now they have to pay this and landlord have to pay that. But she well knows that
if you know that God has been kind to you, let me hear you shout Jesus. Hallelujah. I love you, Lord. Come on, if you love him, stand to your feet. For your mercy never. Come on, ring it out now. Say what? What you say? You sound real good.
Extra foods going up there. Extra foods on the highway in El Socorro. Over the highway. Extra foods coming up by Trin City Mall. Just when you're swinging in to go into Trin City Mall, a huge extra foods going there. Right? Extra foods in Arima. Extra foods in Grandy. Extra foods in Princestown. Now, extra foods, they have tenants. Apart from they own in the store, they have tenants. Right? They rent out a different pizza, this and pizza, that in Arima and all of that. Now that they have to pay this landlord, this registration fee of $2,500, where all landlords have to register, that measure alone is bringing in $290 million for the state. It's a one-time fee. You don't have to pay it every year. It's a one-time fee. But then, up to 20,000 and up to 30,000 and over, they have some monies to pay. And the state will be making close to $600 million a year on that. Now, that is the money the state used to spend on gate. Gate used to be $690 million a year. All right? So this budget introduced a measure now where landlords and things will have to pay that. Then they introduced a measure now where save and accept those banks and insurance companies that don't qualify under the special economic zone will have to pay 0.25% on their assets. And what are the assets of a bank? That would be their buildings and the shareholdings and all of that. So that'll come up at 0.25%. That measure alone will bring in 500 and something million for the state. And that is why Fuad Khan came out and said you have to be careful how you're punishing the rich man. Because if you start to punish the banks, and you start to punish the insurance companies, and you start to punish Ansa Makal, and you start to punish these people who hire in people by the thousands, they will pack up and leave the country. And who will get a job. Is a old strategy used by the Republicans to keep the middle class quiet, because the middle class now start to look at the poor man, and he don't want to be poor. He want to be able to pay a rent and go and play a mass and drink a beer on the avenue and buy a little pizza and, handle his family. He want to be able to do that. He don't want to be poor. So you scare him. You need the rich people to hire you, so give them the tax breaks. But if you come hard at them, you come too hard at them, you will discourage them and they will leave the country. So I always feel it for the average man in the street who trying to live. And Kamala should have put things in place to ensure that groceries and landlords and all these people who own all these foreign used car companies and these 1% who own all these new cars, who are part of the 1%, and some are bringing in these new cars.
Don't call the name like that. They're listening, They will send my letter. You have to deal with it.
Yeah, sure, I'll deal with it. But I won't call them, right? But they will have to pass that bill down to us, because they're not going to pay that.
But I was listening to one of the activists, and he was shouting hooray to the high heavens, because he said, well, right, Alwari got to pay that tax. Because Alwari family does rent to the government, and they are high, and they rent buildings. You know who does rent buildings? You know who does rent a building to the government too? The man who used to do Soca Monarch. What's his name?
That is Monroe.
Yeah. He does rent buildings to the government too.
Yeah, long time.
So he will have to fall into that. He will fall into that category too.
Yeah.
So while we rejoicing that Faris, father-in-law, got to pay plenty money back to the state, Monroe too.
Yeah, Jack Warner too. You see, the small man has very little to rejoice about in that budget. Very little to rejoice about. And the little dollar with the super.
Hear this now. You see that salt?
That is about it.
You see the today I was talking to two ladies, and they said to me, you see that salt? Will she take off VAT and salt? She said, why don't you guys who are reporters don't do all the research? In 2016, Dr. Rowley took off VAT from salt. I'd Google it, and the document came up in front of me of all the things that Dr. Rowley took off VAT from, and salt was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but people think it's something new. That is one of the most common errors made by the small man, in that they credit government B with being original with something when it was the idea of government A.
Yeah, governments before.
But government B will never have the decency to say, well, they will never say that. They want the credit to go to themselves. And Kamala will start some projects, and then she will be removed in 2030. And then the PNM will come and they will take up those projects, and then they would claim a victory. But it's Kamala who started. The HSF is Basdeo Pandey. You see,
I think what people may have a problem with, or may disagree with you with, is that because I think somebody's telling me some information where Basdeo Pandey started it, but Mr. Manning would have done something to it to make it what it is now. The difference between Basdeo Pandey, the difference between Manning and Basdeo Pandey and Kamala and Dr. and the rest now is that if when Mr. Manning started the LNG plant, right? came up with the whole vision and the idea of it. Basdeo Pandey came in and continued it. The continuity with Basdeo Pandey and Mr. Manning was understood. So nobody never used to, people used to, Mr. Manning and Basdeo Pandey used to say, hey, that's good for the country. We continuing with that. Mr. Pandey started dollar for dollar. Mr. Manning said, here what? Gate. Everybody getting it. So they were like, it was like we saw where there was a measure of continuity, and if a man see something good for the country, they would continue. They would develop on it. Like Mr. Manning would have developed on things, Mr. Pandey developed on things. Not the UNC, not Ms. Bissessa, Ms. Bissessa scrap CPEP, say only gangs. So now that we see in the place grassy, the place in a mess.
That is a liar, that gang thing, that is a big liar.
So we know that they don't follow through with continuity. They don't do that. Mr. Manning started the building in Chantry Lane. That building in San Fernando was for all government offices. Every single government office was going to be in South in that building. When Ms. Bissessa came, you know what she did? She scrapped the idea and turned it into a teaching hospital. They don't follow through. This UNC don't follow through with continuity. What they will do is shelve a project. If Dr. Rowley, when Dr. Rowley came in, he met the Arima Hospital in continuing. He met certain things. Dr. Rowley fulfill it. He said, hey, yeah, Arima Hospital, it was on the soil turn for it to build. Yeah, we go in and build it. They built it. Grandy Hospital, okay, that was unchained to build it. Point 14 Hospital, thing, build it. And that's the difference. When people say the both of them is the same, I totally disagree. Because when you watched how PNM will watch at country, UNC does watch at, nah, did that go make the PNM look good? Shelve that. Forget that.
Right. And because of that, the country suffered.
Yes.
Pension age has gone up.
Okay.
All right. So we're looking at pension by 2036. All right. It would be 65, and I understand they have plans to take that up to 72. If they give 70, if they are given a second term, right, that will result in some short-term savings for the state because people will be going home 5 years later now. You know, the 10%. Dr. Rowley had basically offered 5 by 4, which is about 9%. So this 10% is just 1% basically more. But then this is 10% over 6 years. I'm telling you, public servants will not realize any savings from that. They're going to get their back pay. They're going to go buy courts. They're going to spend it out. All right? They're going to buy their rum. They're going to buy their grog. Their back pay will finish. And then they will be back. Inflation will take the rest. 10% over 6 years equals a loss.
But they don't see it. But they don't see it that way, you know. Let's listen. I wonder if I could play Felicia, boy. I wonder if I could play Felicia.
That's why I begun by saying that. The poor you have it, you always poverty is a mentality. How they'll see it that way? All they're seeing it is we get 10%. And that is it. Just go down by $1. Right?
This is sad, boy. This is sad. This is sad. When we watch what's happening in our country today, it is sad. You see what's going on with the fishermen? You know that the boat that they blow out of the water. You know that there was a Trinidadian on that boat?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you know.
And the boat had drugs on it.
I'm going to play that. I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to play it for you. If you want to hear the story, I can play the story for you. But the reality of it is that something is wrong with us. Something is definitely wrong with Trinidadians. Why are we being fooled so easily? I would like to know why. Why are we being fooled so easily? What it is something in the water we drinking? We bazodi?
Lord.
I want you to answer me, Dad. Something is wrong with us. What is wrong with us?
Right. So it's just a mentality where we are lazy people and we don't take time to really figure out what it is the politicians are saying to us. We don't think about the future generation. We don't think about our children and what we put in place that would benefit them to make their lives easier. It is supposed to be a gradual and steady move. Look how China is developing. Look how Dubai is developing. That's how development of a country is supposed to be.
Yeah, but Dad,
it's supposed to be a gradual process.
Yeah.
Right? And every generation is supposed to say, well, we have it a bit easier.
But Dad,
I
heard something on the news tonight that really upset me, You know what they're saying on the news tonight? They were saying that, hey, you see, just what you explained a while ago about the money, right? And what will happen with they will drain down the HSF fund, right? Then they would raise the borrowing of Trinidad and Tobago. The amount of money we're going to leave for our children to pay back is not making any sense. And the question is asked now by some sociologists is it that these people are governing based on their culture? The culture of East Indian people is that they borrow, they live on borrowing. The African man will always say, cut back. We don't have no money. We can't do this. We had to save to try to do that. Now we can't eat buns this weekend. We got to eat bread and butter, sugar water. No, you can't do this. You can't go here. You can't go there. You can't get our sneakers. That's how the black man does govern the family. And the black man does govern the country. So, remember when Dr. Oli stood up and he said, somehow they will get the back pay, but they will lose all their work.
Yeah.
You understand? The reality of it is that are we governing based on our culture mindset? Because the economists and everybody is saying if this government continues the way they are going, the debt that they're going to leave for our children will be mad.
Right. So I wondered. There's a poem. There was a naughty boy and a naughty boy was here. Remember that?
Yeah.
He ran away to Scotland, the people there to see. Then he found that the ground was as hard, that a yard was as long, that a song was as merry, that cherry was red, that lead was weighty, that fourscore was 80, that a door was as wooden as in England. So he stood in his shoes and he wondered. One of the dumbest poems ever written. Now, I stood in my shoes and I wondered like that little boy who ran away to Scotland, thinking things in Scotland would be different to what it is in Ireland. That is what, he thought the grass was greener on the other side. Is that significant poem, analogy, a motif. All right?
Yeah.
And I like to learn things from the simple things in life. And when I'm breaking down things for my listeners or for your listeners or whatever, as a teacher, I like to make it understandable and relatable so that come 2030, they will not make the same mistake they made in 25. And I just feel sorry for the people. I dare not call them stupid. I can't do that. Jesus did it. Philip Alexander doing it. The other side like to say black people stupid. I can't do that. I mean, we just do some real nonsense. But I probably too empathetic. I just really feel it for the small man when I know. I have some people calling me and Mackenzie can tell me what's going on with that rent thing, boy. Right? And they're asking me to explain it and break it down. They're not understanding it, boy. Jesus talking live a string out. You understand why I trying to tell it? You and I will understand HSF and SEZ and special economic zone and 0.25% on business assets of insurance companies. And you and I will understand that. You and I will understand what's going on with this whole CLICO bailout and all the assets of CLICO being seriously undervalued, right? And certain people in high places was keeping these assets to sell to their friends. Trinity Mall was built in 1984.
You see the judge stop it? You see a high court judge has...
You tell me don't call no name, I can't call no name, but somebody was trying to buy it for 500 and something million. But the lowest value that was put on Trinity Mall is 900 million. Right through. The poor man money getting cut up. So I just feel it for the small man. Right? And in 2025, when 100,000 PNM people didn't vote, and a lot of black people went and voted for Kamala, yellow is the code, they would like that naughty boy who ran away to Scotland, the people there to see. He thinking in Ireland, all the people looking one way. And when he go to Scotland, the people would look different there. But when he got there, he found that the ground was just as hard. That a yard was just as long. That a song was just as merry. That a cherry in Scotland was also red as it was in Ireland. That the doors in Scotland were wooden as they were in Ireland. So he stood in his shoes and he wondered. And that's what happened to the people who vote for Kamala. They're standing in their shoes now and they're wondering. Because they thought a UNC government, a cherry would have been more red. Right? And that things would have been better under the UNC. Now 30,000 plus 50,000, I think the count now is close to 100,000 people lose their jobs. And they're just standing in their shoes and they said sales will be so low for this Christmas.
You feel so?
Because these are the people who spend. You see, we'll see if for the next 5 years this government could keep up that nonsense they did in that budget. And we'll see next year what they'll come with. And we'll see the next year. That's 2026, that's 2027, that's 2028, that's 2029, that's 2030. We put them there for 5 long years. By the time PNM ready to run for office again, everybody in the PNM 5 years older. Colm will be like 112. You know, they'll be old. Everybody will be 5 years older.
Colm going back. I don't know why you have my boy Colm, you know. Leave my boy Colm alone now.
If this country don't wise now, in 2030, Kamala will get another 5 years. Right?
You think she will survive for another 5 years?
Oh, I know where you're coming with.
She is how old now? She is as old as Dr. Rowley.
I know she over 70. And she's very frail. But what I'm saying, Kamala will die. And she will go her way. But the mentality of the people will remain the same.
What could we do to change that, Dad?
PR.
You know what? I'm going. Let me play a song now and come back because you're upsetting me. You see where you're gonna talk there? You're making me feel sick.
I know why I'm going.
Yeah, well, let me take a break and come back now. I know where you go there.
No problem.
Let me go for a break and come back. Can you see you? Yeah, go for a break.
Bad maths, you know. Oh, people, boy. It feel like they send me 1 by 1, 2 by 2, it's a 2 by 4. The more we add to the table, they keep taking away more and more. 99% suffering, and they say and they know for sure. Plus the 1% controlling, 100% of the lives of the poor, lives of the poor. It's not enough, 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 Lord. It should take our power from a Rima to town. It's not enough. But daily is all when it's past. Lord, if you're not enough, $5 to take a short drop. 10 to tongue with a million subs. Can depend on the bus, cause the system flop. So you're spinning like a top on your body. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. No! They say I didn't know at all. And you might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. No! They say I didn't know at all. No, no. They say I didn't know at all. TNT. That is so much fun. It's $3,053 monthly. And after your parents and your buy groceries, you can't even pay transportation fee. You know what every shit do? It's not enough. You need cash so you sweep and mop. I saw you do and the bankrupt school fees and bills. None of them don't drop. You stay for it, stay top time. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. They say I did my battle. And you might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. You might say, Martin. They say I did my battle. No, no. They say I did my battle. Lord, the price of mortgage sky high. A plus 20% just to qualify. When you feel the hardest part out of the way, after you qualify, it's 30 years to pay. Lord, is it not enough? Scream yes if banking corrupt, and they're robbing people non-stop, taking your money from your drop by drop, till you hold with a prop on your body. They might say, Martin. They might say, Martin. They might say, Martin. No, they say I need no battle, and they might say, Martin. They might say, Martin. They might say, Martin. No, they say I need no battle. I do the beating. It's not enough. The beating. It's not enough. I do the beating. Like a drum. Like a drum. Like a drum. Down to the drum. Because I feel like them hitting me one by one, 2 by 2, it's a 2 by 4. Oh, yeah, to the
So he sang that. He sang that on the PNM about 2 years before. How much years ago? 2 years ago he sang that. The Martin. The song is so applicable to what we have, what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago now. The Mart's just not Martin. Is it Martin?
Yeah, Martin. All right, but PNM, and you talk about what we could do to change that. PNM has to be careful that they don't get caught in that loop where let us wait to see the UNC fail. People vex with them. They do crap. They fire CPEP, they fire URP, they fire the reforestation people. Right? They didn't restart Petrotrin and all that. People vex. People will put us back in 2030. As though it's a slam dunk for 2030. And they have to keep the government on their toes. Right? They have to come out swinging at that budget and get the best people to break it down like you're feeding little children. Right? You're feeding little children. So that people will understand what is it happening.
Okay, well,
all right.
I can live with that. I can live with that. All right. Well, yeah. All right. I can live with that because what I want to say.
You had to stop saying things like Kamala going on dead. Right? Kamala's sick. She go there. All right. If she dead, what? Another UNC will take it over. Right? A lot of people just sitting around waiting for Donald Trump to get a heart attack and drop down and dead. Right? The world will be the same way. Right? It's a mentality we have to change. We have to change our thinking. We have to think about the country. I think the analogy you made with Manning and Pandey was opposite. Those were the days when them fellas, Pandit used to be talking about constitutional reform. Right? He was talking about proportional representation. We know that would have helped him. All right, that would have helped his party, you know. All right, so he was being a little selfish there, but he was talking about constitutional reform. You know, and those were the days when men used to make a sacrifice. Pandey and Manning them used to bling. It wasn't no Benz and no G5 and all of that. After Manning lost the election, those people cussed that man stink and run him from Bali's house. I was there that night. I just stand up far and watch how people curse that man. People curse that man going in Bali's house. Oh gosh, when he was leaving, I say, oh gosh, I saw that cursing that man. But if you hear curse, a man and just jump in his Pajero, right? He just jump in his Pajero and he drives straight down home. And so Manning wasn't no rich man. Manning never enrich himself. He never expand his house like some people do. Right? And add on and buy out all the neighboring properties. Right? Because you're named Prime Minister and you could do it. And you're benefiting from contractors. Manning never do that, boy. Manning was owing on his house. That to have fundraiser and thing. To help that man. He gave us the whole Hyatt, the whole Port of Spain complex there and all of that. Sapa Napa, the man was thinking about the country. Them days done. Right? It's a war of personalities. I remember when Transformers, you remember Transformers, that movie?
Yeah.
When that movie had now come out, it was about cars. It was about cars. It was about Vin Diesel racing a Dodge Charger and Paul Walker racing a Toyota and thing. The first one, Fast and Furious. So not Transformers, Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious 1 was about cars. Fast and Furious 2 was about cars. And Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, it was about cars. By the time they hit 4 and 5, his personalities. The Rock, right? Idris Elba, Charlize Theron. They started bringing a set of high-powered stars, and his personality cult now, and personalities clashing. Right? The Rock fighting this one, and the movie just, the franchise just took a dip. In the same way the politics in this country, it used to be about, let us see what we could do to make this place a better place, whether it's rapid rail, whether it's this or that. It's not that now. It's everything the PNM do, we will undo it. Whether or not it benefits in the country.
Let's take some calls on this issue. 464-7003. 464-7003. We're going to talk about this. We're going to take some of your calls on it. And then after that, we're going to go into what has been happening out in the seas. Yep. We're seeing where 2 Trinidadians are now victims of what's going on out there. So we'll talk about that after we talk this issue here. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Wow.
Good evening.
That hit the nail on the head because it is so bad, Pastor Google. That is why your dad made a statement. The PNM have to use social media and market what is going on. You believe there are certain radio stations now, depends on your view. Once you argue your point, they schedule your time now. Excuse me. They give you a time that you should call. A minute and a half now, 2 minutes. Or they refuse to take your call. You made a statement to me sometime about what used to happen to you on the previous radio station. Right now, it's happening still. So the PNM have to find a way to create their own bloggers and do the same thing with the truth. They take it off as salt, you know, Pastor Google. And they turn around and tell me they take it off even yesterday evening, one of the only lady on that program where you come from, say, but You know, they take VAT off of food, certain food items, and the next man say that they do it already. What basic food items them take VAT off of pasta, Google? Vegetables in a supermarket. That is the only place they pay VAT on vegetables. So the population has gone into a whole mindset of Trumpism that fake reality has become the truth. Data Analytica has programmed and set the information that Trinidadians would absorb. Just that of everybody said the budget is good, and you know one of the reasons why the budget is good? For one reason. One main reason. They take $1 off a super, you know. This morning I went in a service station. Stand up and a man pull up. I already by the cashier. A man pull up to me. Excuse me, I want to get no. I want to get my change. I look down at this man and go to tell him, well, instead of you say good morning and excuse me, I see who stuff for your firearm, observe his pants and his boots. Collect his change, you get $100. Boy, look what I do for me. I save $100. I said, well, there we go, you have to put it aside. He said, I'm going to put it aside so I could see about the car. You understand that, Pastor Google? That alone played on the emotions of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and kill them, dare them win something. Until next month. They go to the grocery. When they go in the grocery,
you see the grocery going up.
And you see they go to buy the roti outside, and the roti going up because the tank of gas going up, then you go start to hear.
All right, man.
Enjoy the evening, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, so we continue to take your calls, 464-7003, 464-7003, 464-7003. While I wait for your calls. So you heard we have a new tutor president.
Yes, he won by a landslide.
You know why?
No.
Do you think that it was politics? It was political?
I wasn't following it too closely, but I was supporting Zoe Anderson. That was my boy. But he went up as an independent, I think.
Okay, well let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Before this election, Anil Roberts put out a threat to the then president, telling him, oh, you like Stuart Young? Well, you're going to lose this election. You want to tell you?
Who put out that threat?
Anil Roberts told the Chinese president back then, oh, you like Stuart Young? You're going to lose this election. When the guy won, Anil Roberts come out and tell him, you see, I didn't make a veiled threat. And then the guy who won was on the news tonight. And listen what he had to say. Take a listen to what he had to say. You listening?
I'm listening,
President of the Unified Teachers Association, Crystal Ashe, is hoping to re-enter negotiations with the government. Ashe says the acceptance of a 5% offer by former President Martin Lumpkin may have played a critical role in his victory after the Public Services Association was offered 10% over a 6-year period. He says he is hoping the new government is willing to reopen negotiations that the previous administration accepted.
We would have seen what the public servants would have gotten and so on, I think. And we're hoping that the present government would be kind enough such that they would be willing to return to the negotiating table with tutor and ratify that. That is our hope, more or less.
Ashe vows to work with the Education Ministry for improved teaching quality. And with a first name commonly reserved for women, Ashe thanked his parents for naming him that name, saying it gave him the resilience he needed in life. He says the name is one he is proud of, adding that he is unbothered.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Break it down for me.
Basically, he's saying that he's hoping that the government will open back up the negotiations for teachers to get 10% like the public servants. And he's willing to work with the Ministry of Education to ensure that education gets its full wherever. Clearly, the man's supporting the government.
Right.
Let's take this call. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Based on the, is everyone, are you clear?
Yeah, I'm hearing you clearly.
Okay, good. Based on the budget, the analysis that I got from the budget is more austerity measure budget, meaning that they have to tax the way out in order to raise revenue, which would be a negative effect on the citizen because of the amount of job loss, and people do not have as much money in order to cover those tax like rent tax, etc., whereby rent would increase. Now the point is that when I look at Nanku work history on LinkedIn, he hasn't really gained much experience in finance, working at central bank, etc., to gain credible information on budgeting and so. When you look at his job portfolio, one of the area that I think that what they have done is that in terms of education, they pump as much money into education is good, but to get back revenue from education, what they should have done, like how they have children hospital, that children hospital, as long you have all the doctors, etc., pediatricians, they could transform Trinidad Hospital to a regional children hospital, meaning that as long you have the full staff, etc., it would not only help children in Trinidad, but it could pull revenue from the Caribbean, where children suffering from different sickness across the Caribbean, they could able to fly into Trinidad to get health care, where the government could raise revenue from that hospital. The hospital could be a regional and then a global hospital, children hospital. There's one way they could get back revenue from education based on pumping. So they could train more doctors to facilitate a children hospital.
All right.
Another way, hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Good. And next way, in terms of education, health tourism, since health is a major issue around the Caribbean and a lot of people are dying from cancer.
Let me stop you 1 minute. You see, what you are asking for is something that this country hasn't been promoting or will not promote, especially citizens. You see that paying for healthcare, sir? That is telling you a sore spot. And from what I recognize, that the Ministry of Health is one of the ministries that got the highest budget. Why? Because they are now importing medication for diabetics, different types of medication for diabetics, and they are bent on turning that Couva Hospital into a main children hospital. So they have their vision for that, for the medical aspect of Trinidad and Tobago, isn't so much so for people to pay. You see that paying aspect that you want to pull in for the Caribbean? I don't think that this government is so much bent on doing that. All right?
Okay.
All
so
right.
These are the info that I was looking at in order they could pull revenue from the Caribbean so people could come to Trinidad and get healthcare in this area. Even cancer, which is on the increase, train more doctors who specialize in cancer so that they could find the major issue where people dying with tumor cancer, because right now a lot of people around the Caribbean dying with tumor cancer, and the Caribbean islands do not have the doctors and the medication and the hospital. So Trinidad could be a central point where a lot of people who develop stage 1, 2 cancer from the Caribbean could come here for healthcare, and if possible, you could find a solution along the trade dockings in that area where they're pumping money into education.
All right. Thank you very much.
So, all right. Thank you very much.
All right. All right. So that's our Guyanese, I believe, caller. He calls from Guyana. All right. Let's take this other caller. Hello. Good evening. Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, Pastor Google.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening to your dad. With respect to the budget there, as far as I'm concerned, that is a give and take budget. The government give you one hand, but they're taking 5 times more from you. And I'll give you an example. See, you see with respect to the cooking gas,
right?
That would have a domino effect, because even though they say that the 100 cylinder tank will cost you more, guess what will happen now? There will be a pressure now for the 20-pound cylinder gas. And of course, they will find a excuse to increase that gas tank for that 20-pound gas. People don't see the domino effect. Also, it is going to affect the poor man, because people who have cooking, who does cook, those vendors and them, when they increase their prices, like the double roti, and people who are custom buying Chinese food, right? You can imagine, you think people will pay a roti, a chicken roti?
Well, those people would say, and I'm already hearing it already. I don't know if you hear it, Dad, but you're hearing people who, the doubles vendors and the other persons are seeing that we saving on the gas, which is the super. We that means we could put our money towards paying for the tanker gas.
But like I said again, but I think it's going to have a domino effect, because if people are not going to pay, because that cylinder tank will be too expensive, people will start to focus on it 20 pounds, and that will cause a demand for it, and who knows, they might increase that 20-pound cylinder. That's how I see it.
All right, sir.
And also that thing with pastorality, who say that if I can't afford to go to a restaurant to cook, that what he's telling it is a proposal, is that only the elites could go to those fancy restaurants, and people like us, they can't go to no fancy restaurants. Right. That's how I feel. And the thing that man come out from the man and selected him as a Kenyan candidate for many years ago.
Yeah,
that's why you don't.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good afternoon, Pastor Google. I call to make a quick correction. The Revenue Authority was established March 2007, and your whole audience could go and Google it and see.
The Revenue Authority
was established March 2000.
The Revenue Authority, you say, you know?
Not the Revenue Authority, no, God, boy, that's not thing to thing. The Heritage and Stabilization Fund was established in March 2007. Just a mistake, Pastor.
All right, so hear what we're saying. Hear what he's saying, right? The Heritage and Stabilization, the concept of it, was the concept started under Mr. Pandey. The establishment
when did it start on the Pandey?
I will tell you when. Just now, right? I will tell you when. Stay right there. I will tell you when. Dad, you there?
Yeah.
All right. So just now, where caller? Don't come off the line.
Yeah.
The age. All right. Just now, where caller? Don't come off the line.
No, I'll come off the line. I was a man calling you long time from I-95. I 91.9. It's the first time I call on this program. I come off my line.
You started when, Dad?
It was established in 2007.
Who was in government in 2007?
Right. Now it replaced an earlier interim fund. All right. But it was established by Act number 6 of 2007.
You hear that, caller?
Yeah, but you were telling you know. What you were telling you. First time in my life, 57 years, I ever see a inflated budget. Which means, the pastor was talking about it, which means you're getting an oil price of $52, and you inflate the budget by 73.25, right? Well then, what is setting up to do? Not going to the Heritage and Stabilization Fund.
But that is what Dad said. Dad said that.
And destroy my children's savings.
Yeah, but that is what Dad said, and that is also what Mr. Imbert said. Mr. Imbert said that also. Mr. Imbert said that this whole thing is really to go into the Heritage and Stabilization Fund.
Pastor, this thing real sad, and boy.
Yeah, but we'll vote for that.
This thing real sad, and boy. So my children education, the little security part for my children education and all kind of thing. Well,
these children, your children and grandchildren, let me put it in perspective, proper perspective this evening. Your children and grandchildren and grandchildren have to pay back that loan. This government is going to be taking loans upon loans upon loans in order to pay public servants, in order to pay the debts that they are going to incur, because clearly, and Dad, you could chime in here. Since I have been living on this earth called Trinidad and Tobago, there are things that budget does. There are things that ministers of finance have read out in budgets that has never materialized.
Right.
Oh, come on! The tunnel from Tunapuna to Maracas. That was one of the first things that was said in a budget speech by Mr. What you name? The man from Tunapuna was from Tunapuna. Who was the minister? No, it wasn't Jack Warner. He wasn't even the what you name, boy? Dukaran, Mr. Winston Dukaran stood up in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago and told us in 2010 that we're going to get a tunnel from Tunapuna to Maracas. We never see that tunnel. Let me forget that tunnel. Forget that tunnel.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask a question. This is a question for the next pastor. Wouldn't be better that we would establish the revenue authority?
Why?
Implement the property tax.
No.
Right? No. And you have the Nigerian company coming in and taking over Petrotrain.
Policy. We are living in UNC time.
We'll have created about 250 jobs, right? And pay royalties, and we'll see revenues about 18.5 billion in revenues.
Caller, you know what? I wasn't gonna play this clip, but I will play it now. I will play it just because of what you just said it. I will play this clip.
Yeah, but what the first answer? What the first answer?
All right.
Yeah.
Dad, answer him now. Hello?
Yeah.
Papa, I have the phone. Papa, answer the man now. Dad. Daddy. Papa. What's going on with Papa there? Daddy. Hello? Hello? What's going on with Dad? Hello, caller?
Yes. Good evening to you, Pastor Google.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Yes, this is Tallman number 2.
Ellis Freedom, I hear Tallman, number 2, It's a Tallman used to call Yeah, that place.
No, this is about the church I'm going to call this program.
Okay.
I like where you're going. I want to ask you, let your father clarify a couple of things for me.
All right.
So
Just now, let me see if I get back there. Hold on. Hello, Dad.
Yeah. Yes, I'm here.
What happened just now there?
I don't know. The call just dropped.
All right. The caller, I have a question for you. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, so he was referring to the people and they're getting the money from the 10%. The real kakada. I am interested to know if, based on what you were saying, if we would be smart enough as a people are receiving this money which has, its economic value would have been deteriorated over the period that they're getting it for. Would think about the so-called proposed NIF program, NIF bonds that the government plans to offer to the public next year, if that ever materializes.
Who plans to offer NIF?
This is what they said.
Who said that?
Mr. Tanko. No, he didn't say that in the budget presentation. That's what I thought I heard. If he didn't say that, well, that's cool.
So just now.
You offer some bonds that's supposed to
oh gosh!
Yeah.
I get last stuff for the week.
Well, good. I hope. I'm glad I could provide some entertainment.
So, where you get a NIF talk from? Who started the NIF program?
Yeah, I didn't say who started it. I said they're going to offer some bonds next year.
But you say NIF. So you're getting upset there with that talk now because they can't offer no NIF, sir.
Some bonds that they talk about in the budget that they're going to offer for
you
public.
You think public servants want bonds? Let me be real.
Well, no, but I'm saying.
Listen to me, sir. Just now. So, Dad, you hear the question the man asked?
Right, that's just one.
Yeah.
The man is asking if the government is going to offer bonds. Let me answer that question, caller. Hold on. Go ahead, Dad.
If they will offer bonds?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not happening.
Look for the answer.
All right. That's one. I just could.
Let me tell you why you look for the answer.
No, but Pastor,
just here we say that the government is going to dip into the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. They said that.
I understand that. That is the whole modus operandi and the reason why they inflate the
But we something that
I understand that, but
we live in a terrible time.
Yeah, but I was just making the point of what they said in the budget speech. I want to go know what Mr. Tanku said, that they're offering some bonds next year. Yes. You go back and listen to it, This is what I hear. For sale to the public, not dealing with the 10% and so on,
Oh, it's not the public,
the public. I'm just saying, if they will take the little kakada and invest it in those bonds.
Oh.
No, we're catching what I say.
I thought you were saying that they were going.
No. Come on now, Pastor Google. Are you talking about that?
Let me ask you something. So you are saying that Mr. Tanku is going to open up the NIF program again? The bonds program again?
I don't know if it's that particular bonds program, but they said they will be offering bonds next year for public consumption.
So you're asking me to ask my father if he feel that people will take that
public servants who get in the
and invest it
yes.
You think they would don't come off the line? Don't come off the line. Stay ready. That.
All right. So while we talking about bonds and the funny speculating, I just wanted to raise an issue here. Well, that deals with it has to do with the 10% offer, right? But it also has to do with the state of our politics. We talk about the African Party and the Indian Party, and the UNC is the Indian Party, and PNM is the African Party. It's a mindset we have to liberate ourselves from. I'm reading from the article today in the Newsday. PSA had iced 10% wage settlement by Christmas. So Felicia Thomas is looking to put money in public servants' pockets by Christmas. We're in October. Today is the 15th of October. We have the rest of October and all of November, 24 days to Christmas.
Yeah. Oh my God. Pastor Boy, you have to have some levity in this thing, you know. You have to have some levity sometime in life, you know. Entertainment is important. I just mean, you know, I try to provoke a conversation and see where you go with your partner because I know, you know.
Money in 65,000 public servants' pocket. And hear how fast and out of place she get. She took issue with recent comments by Brian Manning, the ex-minister in the finance ministry, who she said publicly called on her to clarify the government's offer. You know why Manning asked Felicia to clarify it? Because she can't clarify.
No.
No.
So when Manning say clarify the government's offer, right? You're coming and jumping high, you're hugging up, taking picture with Tanku and telling him thank you and all kind of thing, right? You get your 10%. Clarify it for the government. You know what she tell him? She called on him to stay quiet, sit down, and stay out of public servants' business.
My gosh.
Right? Because Felicia have planned to give 65,000 public servants money for the Christmas. That is the kind of monkeyism and atheism going on.
Wait now. I want to play for you. Take your caller.
No, but wait, I finished that for some go. I want to go where a previous caller went now and saying where this money, all this money is coming from. So if they don't want to, if they're going to tax the people, right, and they're not getting revenue from property tax, right, I'm just still trying to understand, you know, where is this revenue coming from?
They're going to take the money caller from this Heritage and Stabilization Fund.
I understand that. And the caller also talked about, you know, you and your father talked about projects that they go back and forth, they don't continue on. You know, what about that smelter plant? That's earning 2,000 plus per unit right now on the world market. Where we would have been if the smelter plant wasn't in place. That's one of the projects that we missed out talking about. That smelter plant, the cost per unit now is over 2,000 US per unit. With aluminum that we would have been earning right now on the world market. That is one of the mega projects that we needed and we missed talking about. That project. What they would have been earning from that smelter plant per unit now.
All right, well, Daddy him.
And as you go to I'll call back when you go to that thing with the ships in the water in the next segment.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Only give me a headache with Daddy. I'm starting to go and come. People complaining, again, buff. People sending me messages here telling me it's song too soft.
Oh no, I had the phone right there.
I send you a message there. Read that message.
Asking for me though about let's see, boy.
UTC.
About what?
Asking for me about the UTC funding for young entrepreneurship programs.
Oh, I was doing up some reading on SMEs and how they want to incorporate the UTC in that. Up to today, the UTC has changed the policy since this government has come into power. Normally, if you had a long-term saving in UTC, you could have written checks, right? You could have written checks from the UTC account. So I could write you a check for $5,000 from my UTC account. You deposit it in your bank. It takes about 15 days or 14 days to clear. But you could have done that. But now they're not doing checks at all. I am looking into why that change in policy since the change of government and since the UTC. I think the UTC has a new board. I think, Unit Trust has a new board. Right, but why that change in policy in checks and negotiable instruments? Because when I went in today, they told me, they said, Mr. McKenzie, you have to sign up for some AHS thing, which means I have to go into my bank and I have to complete a form. The bank has to sign the form. And if I need to give Pastor Google $5,000 for my account in the UTC, then the money would be transferred into my bank and the bank would write the check. The bank would issue the check because the UTC not issuing the check again. That is a significant.
Yeah. Just write the check.
A significant.
That amount you call out there. Yeah, that amount you call out there, I could do that right now.
Oh, just do it. All right.
Okay, Dad?
Yeah.
All right.
I should not start that up. All right.
Take a listen to this. Take a listen to this. Straight out to make money world. The caller start me, so I'm going to finish it. Take a listen to this.
The Petrotrin refinery could soon return to operation. Minister in the Ministry of Energy, Ernesto Kiza, confirms that a restart plan. The Petrotrin refinery could soon return to operation. Minister in the Ministry of Energy, Ernesto Kiza, confirms that a restart plan crafted by a committee led by Kevin Ramnarine outlines a 5-phase path to revival. He offered no details ahead of his budget contribution, but hinted the Prime Minister will tackle jobs and energy in her address. Moreover, he defended the oil price benchmark set at $73.25 a barrel. He said it was based on long-used government formulas. Kiza insists it's realistic, saying new investments will lift revenues, but he admits the government requires help from the private sector.
They're bringing back Petrotrin?
They're bringing back the refinery.
So give me a break this Saturday night.
With a 5-point plan.
Give me a break. People believe in that?
People believe that. We have a low oil production. What we going to refine? We're gonna import oil to refine it. We're gonna pay people to bring oil here to refine it.
Petrotrin refinery that was costing this government $100 billion a year in losses. Kamala, they go and bring back Petrotrin refinery and people fall for that?
Yes. Let's take this call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor.
Good evening, sir.
Well, I want person believe it. I will tell you why I believe it. You keep talking like it, you know, you take a cutlass and you're stripping out a piece of wood to make a point. That's how we're talking. Here's show we're going on. So by saying that coming back or this coming back, in a six-point plan or whatever, and you have to get money from the businessman and you have to get money from this one. You know why he's talking like that? He figured that the states go take over Venezuela and go get them the oil. All that fellas feel so, they will get the gas and they will get the oil. That is why we see all them talking. You know why Trump could peg the payment at $73 a barrel? He too feel United States go return Venezuela and get the oil. That's what them fellas thinking. I don't know where they get it thinking. And the most stupid thing that if your gas and oil at $50-something a barrel, what the hell you making a budget 73? So we will tell them that when they go into the stabilization fund, that money is for you then. It's for all you. And not the people trying to big.
Thank you, partner. So let me go into the Venezuelan topic now. Now it's 10:30. We will talk about this straight till 11 o'clock.
All right, so you had some tea on that. Spill the tea.
All right, I have one last caller, because I know this caller calling about economics. Hello, good evening.
Good night, Pastor. Good night. Good night. Good night to Pastor Mackenzie as well. Pastor, I have one question for you and your dad. I want to put something in perspective, right? I mean, analyzing the budget, and I'm getting to get a idea, right? Since the government add new costs for landlords and businesses, like the property tax, the electricity bills, and the the NIS payments, right? This means that, businesses will have to cover the costs, right? And obviously, with this happening, they don't think the government kind of put the blame and the responsibility on the businessmen. So in turn, that the population now will come at the businessmen and blame the businessmen, and this kind of remove the government from responsibly running this country. You don't feel that happening, and then in turn, right, it could make an advancement for them that if it happens, for them to actually go into the Heritage Stabilization Fund. That's the possibility that could really arise? What I'm asking here? That's my contribution and question for the night.
It's a good contribution, and it's a good strategic interpretation of what the government is doing. To deflect blame away from the government and place it squarely at the feet of businessmen, the 1%, and blame them for the country being how it is. And so here what? It's not our fault. These people went and they're going and they raised the rent on you guys, and they raised the grocery bills on you guys. They weren't supposed to do that. They were supposed to take the losses, just like Trump with the tariffs, begging the businessmen to take the losses and don't pass the losses on to the people. But as we know, they ignore the government. The losses will be passed on to the people, and then the government will say, when we had no choice to go into the HSF to acquire 60% of the difference in the deficit. So I think it's a good strategic interpretation of what is going on, and I agree with the call on that.
Okay. Well, let's deal with this situation here now. So we go in the Venezuelan waters now, right? Let's take a listen to this.
Well, speaking at the White House today, U.S. President Donald Trump says the next step could be strikes on Venezuelan soil. He says Well, speaking at the White House today, U.S. President Donald Trump says the next step could be strikes on... Speaking at the White House today, U.S. President Donald Trump says the next step could be strikes on Venezuelan soil. He says the United States has made its point with strikes at sea.
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found. And that, I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. They have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives.
Just before noon today, U.S. B-52 bombers conducted a flyover off the coast of Venezuela. The bombers circled for about an hour before flying back north. A 9-year-old boy and his father were shot early this morning when 4 masked gunmen...
All right, so you heard that, right?
Yeah.
I want to play for you, I want to see if I can find that clip, where some two Trinidadians lost their life out at sea. You heard about that?
No.
Yes.
They were victims of the bombing by the U.S.?
Yes.
They were on that boat?
Yes.
What is the source of that news?
All right. Well, I will play it for you now. I'll play it for you. Where did I find that? Let me see if I get it for you here now. Let me see if I can get this for you. But yeah, yep, that happened today. When that happened? Today? Yesterday? Yesterday that took place. Where they where that happened and they were saying that what happened, boy, what they were saying that the young men and they went to Venezuela and something. I'm going to find it and I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to find it and I'm going to play it for you because they were trying to get in contact with, what's his name? The Foreign Affairs Minister. They were trying to get in contact with other persons to hear their views. But yeah, I'm going to find it and play it for you, Dad. See, you don't know that story? But what do you think about what Trump said? What do you think about what Trump said, though?
No, I see that's what I'm saying with the PNM. Kamala has pledged the support of this country to work as an ally of the United States. So this is really United States of America and Trinidad and Tobago versus Venezuela. That's what it is. It's the USA and Trinidad and Tobago versus Venezuela. Right? We are aiding and abetting the United States of America, and we are co-conspirators. The United States of America. It means any policy the United States of America takes against Venezuela, it has the support of the United National Congress and the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So if they decide to wipe out Venezuelans, the Prime Minister has pledged her support to that. She has not made any distinctions in her support to say, well, we will provide logistical support. We will help provide intelligence. We will assist you with surveillance. She hasn't made any distinction. She has pledged full support to the United States on its war on these so-called narco-terrorists. It means whatever the United States of America does to Venezuela and Venezuelans, this government that is in power is in agreement with that.
Well,
making us an ally of the United States, co-conspirators, and aiding and abetting the United States in its war. Therefore, crimes against humanity committed against Venezuela and Venezuelans, Trinidad will bear the blood, must also share responsibility for the shedding of Venezuelan blood. And those Venezuelans who are dying, Kamala has said, kill them all. Which is exactly what Donald Trump is doing.
Violently.
When he begins to bomb,
kill them all violently.
When he begins to drop bombs on Venezuelan soil, that is now a direct attack on the sovereign soil of another country. And that is where you start to get into crimes against humanity. When Donald Trump starts to kill Venezuelans on Venezuelan soil, Maduro will be free to declare it as an act of war, and then we could go into a full all-out war in the Southern Caribbean. If Donald Trump drops one bomb on Venezuelan soil before Christmas, you see all those ships bringing in all those Santa toys and grapes and apples and things for us to enjoy our Christmas, they could forget that because ships can't pass when there's a war. As long as war is declared, shipping lanes are shut down. And they have to find alternative routes to get to Trinidad. I believe already certain shipping lanes have been shut down. Remember when the Panama Canal was shut down, how it affected world trade? Right? Affected world trade for months. So those ships that bring in all those Christmas toys and goods for businessmen and for the groceries and extra foods to stock the groceries, they won't be able to use the normal routes. They will be rerouted by the U.S. military. Furthermore, the U.S. military will be free to stop those ships and take supplies from them to feed 5,000 soldiers. People don't understand war. Kamala, you know what she doing? Kamala understand war. She don't have a war policy chief to sit down and say, lady, little imps lady, sit down. And let me tell you how war does work. She don't have anybody. Who she have? Philip Alexander? Tammy Roberts, who will tell her about war policy and how there's something called American exceptionalism, where Americans are free to do around the world whatever they would like, I'm telling you, even if Kamala did not make that very gratuitous and stupid offer she made to Maduro, right? We giving her our support and they could use our soil and all of that. They would have taken it The Americans will come here and take what? Reopen Wallafield, right? Reopen Wallafield, reopen Fort George. And there's nothing we could do about it, but we made the offer, which we should not have done. Right? With that open offer there, where they go in and drop bombs on Venezuelans, so I felt very sad when I heard that. Because that is going and change the whole game. That man will declare state of emergency. He will begin retaliations. And if America start to moor their ships here, or they start to fly the B-52 bombers off of Trinidad soil, Maduro will be free to bomb Trinidad.
Let's play for you the video now. I'll play for you the video now of the Trinidad young men. All right? Take a listen.
Yeah, listen.
Two men believed to be Trinbagonians were killed in the latest U.S. drone strike of Venezuelan waters. And now Alas Cueva's family is demanding answers.
They say Chad Joseph wasn't a trafficker, just a young man trying to come home. Jensen Levent went to the fishing village to speak with the family.
Like most of the men gathered here at the Las Cuevas fishing depot, Chad Joseph was a fisherman. Both his relatives and residents are denying strenuously that he was involved in drug trafficking. They say his killing was unjust.
When Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar said the United States should kill alleged drug dealers violently, no citizen was listed among the dead. On the U.S.'s fifth airstrike, Trinidadians Chad Joseph and another man identified only as Samaru were among 6 people killed on Tuesday, taking the number of alleged narco-traffickers killed by the U.S. since September 2nd to 27. Joseph's grandfather, Cornell Clement, who denied his grandson was a drug trafficker, says he has no choice but to trust in God. Now he questions the U.S.'s method of dealing with the situation.
I watch it as wickedness. Because why we killing people children for? They're not meant that yet. It's supposed to be that way.
You say he will be a drug trafficker, that's what he was.
No. The boy is no drug trafficker. It make them run and come back.
Joseph's grandmother, Christine, says her grandson was in Venezuela for the past 3 months and wanted desperately to return home, but his previous attempts failed.
The first time he was coming, they shoot up the boat. He ended up surviving on some little beach, and some people take time because I talked to him and I talked to one of the ladies too. And the second time I heard he come in, I get his mother. 2 days ago, I asked her. She told me he must come in and something with the boat again. So he go back.
A short distance away, residents of Las Cuevas village stopped because one man expressed
What the U.S. doing there? I think it's inhumane, right? If all they really want, right, all they blow the boat up. What evidence it have showing really is drugs, and stuff like that. Like we say, is guns, or even say is human trafficking, anything. We can. What is the closure the family having now?
Calls and messages to the Prime Minister and Defense Minister Wayne Sturge went unanswered. Months ago, Sturge said during a post-cabinet media briefing that any Trini fisherman caught doing illegal activity was on their own. Foreign Affairs Minister Sean Sobers was unavailable for comment. Jensen Lavend, CNC3 News.
What statement Sean Sobers has made as a Foreign Affairs Minister?
You're asking me a hard question.
Foreign Affairs Minister. We had Amory Brown, a man who was on the ball. A man who could tell you about diplomatic relations between nations. Up and down every day, we bring on the ball. This Sean Sobers, this little young boy, what statement has Sean Sobers come out and made? What assurances have he given this country that Trinidadians going on a little boat ride by? A little boat ride down the islands won't be mistaken by the U.S. military as narco traffickers. Listen. The United States and Israel, and they're bombing on Gaza and they're bombing on Iraq and all these things, they are very well known for making deliberate mistakes. And it might sound all off now, but it will have a group of Trinidadians on a boat ride, you know, going down the islands in the night. And all the American soldiers will see on the radar is a little light, 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? That is what their radar will pick up. They'll pick up a little light and a little pirogue, because that is what it will look like. Moving, and they wouldn't know it have 150 Trinidadians partying on a little boat. And they will blow it out of the water, you know. And Trinidadians will die. And I want to hear what Miss Prasad Bisasa will say, because she playing with people's lives. United States do give a flying fig. You hear what Donald Trump describes us as? Little Caribbean third world country. Right? With our little boats and little drug traffickers. We just little monkeys to him. Right? And if one of you align yourself, it will have a terrible, terrible error, and mistake will be made. Good. Mark my words well. And I pray to God this man will start to bomb Venezuela on Venezuelan soil before Christmas. Or at all. Play the taking out drug dens. Because you and I know they're after the people oil. Right?
I don't know now, right?
Two Trinidadians that showed Toba's supposed to be on the news. He's supposed to be up in Las Cuevas one time, giving assurance to the family, telling the family something. He need to come and say whether these guys, this Samaru guy and Chad guy, Joseph or whatever is his name, whether they were identified as international narco traffickers, whether they were on a watch list. They are Trinidadians, they are family here. And their lives were taken in a U.S. airstrike. What statement has the government made on that?
None.
Sean Sobers.
And they will not make any statements on it.
That is a foreign affair scandal. And Sean Sobers is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's supposed to be on the news, call a press conference and explain to Trinidadians to expect more like that. Because Chad Joseph and Samaru, they want some watch list. And they were narco traffickers, and here's the evidence. And we supplied America with the evidence on our citizens. And told them, watch out for this boat here, because we have 2 people who are trafficking drugs. Right? And hence, they were taken out by America based on intelligence provided by Trinidad and Tobago intelligence. That's what they're supposed to be saying.
Let's take this call. Hello, good evening. Hi, good evening.
Hi, good night. In normal drug interdiction, right? What is supposed to happen is that, see that the Americans have so many military assets in the area. They're supposed to board the boats, apprehend whoever's there, right? Carry them to the vessel and whatever thing, lay out and display all the drugs and guns that they say are alleged being shipped, right? So that they could show, look, you see, right? We know we pick up here, right? Second thing is, how it is a little pirogue, right, with drugs, to travel all the way from Venezuela to the U.S. Oh, how much fuel that would require? The first boat that they downed, or the first and the second one that they downed, they said it had 15 people on it transporting drugs. Any drug dealer who is salt know that less is more. You have the driver and they have 2 loaders. Then you have the rest of the boat will take up drugs because that is weight. And they need the boat to go fast. Right? So what the US is doing there now, they are telling the world, hey, take our word for it. Them is drug traffickers. And we killing them. Without proof. Right? And someday, this is going to come and backfire on them. Because to this day, they have not produced any evidence, any tangible photographic evidence that these boats were transporting drugs. And they have a set of lemmings here in Trinidad saying, yeah, the U.S., what do you think cause all the drugs that's coming from Venezuela into our country? They go stop it. Excuse me. The United Nations section that deals with crime and drugs says that how, just like Trinidad, Venezuela is a transshipment point for drugs. As a matter of fact, they don't have any drug factories in Venezuela right now. Most of the drugs coming from Peru, they're coming from Mexico with the Sinaloa cartel, and they're coming from Colombia and Ecuador, which happens to be a big narco terrorist, a big narco state. And Kamala sided with a narco state.
All right.
In that respect.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google. Good evening, Pastor Mackenzie.
Good evening.
I want to tell you something, Pastor Google. I've been listening to you all for the evening. Kamala Prasad Bissessa, the faster people realize that Kamala Prasad Bissessa, now that she has sworn her oath of office and has the power and authority, never did and never will give a damn about the citizens of this country. Because she has already indicated and stated to kill them all and violently. She don't give, she don't care. We don't know what she and little Marco discussed when she was in Washington. We don't know what promises were made behind closed doors. We don't know. But whatever it is, it has everything to do with what is going to may or may not happen in a little while with respect to Venezuela and those ships, those war vessels outside there. Donald Trump is not going to send that type of artillery plus a nuclear submarine into the southern part of the Caribbean without having a clear and direct indication as to exactly what he's attempting to do. And I am of the firm view Kamala Prasad Bissessa is aware of what is going to happen. She knows, and she's in full support of it. And our citizens, the best thing for us as citizens to understand, if we didn't understand it before April 28th, is that this government, this present regime in Trinidad and Tobago, don't give a damn about us. Because they have already indicated you're out there on your own. When a minister can say that about the citizens of this country, that when you go out in the sea, you're out there on your own, it tells you all. And we must stop trying to fool ourselves and say, well, you know, she cares. And she said, I love you. Nobody will love you like I love you, really? But you want people to die violently? Where's the pain and sorrow for these two young Trinbagonian men? Where's it? As your father rightly asked, where's little fat boy, the Minister of Foreign Affairs? He can't say anything because he cannot speak before Kamala Prasad Bissessa. He has to be instructed to do so. And she knows exactly that she don't give a damn about him, about them. So nothing is going to happen. And we have to mind our business. Because at the end of the day, if a missile hits our capital, nobody going to build back anything in Port-of-Spain, Nothing. So we have to mind our business and we have to be careful and we have to speak truth to power. Otherwise, that's it for us. We are on our own. Whether people want to believe it or accept it or not. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, caller. Thanks a lot. I admire your energy. I admire your passion. And I'm saying, I'm going to add to this. That is not how America collects intelligence. I think it was this caller, the caller before said they're supposed to be capturing those men, interrogating them, and gathering intelligence. You just shooting out boats from the sky. America has a completely different agenda. Are we going to eat the bread the devil need? You see what I did to Grenada? Good.
Let's take this call. Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Pastor Google.
Hi, good evening.
You have somebody there with you too?
Yeah, my dad.
Okay, good. I hear the saying pastor or something. I don't know if he's a pastor.
Yeah, he is a pastor. He is a pastor.
Right.
Pastor,
Good.
lawyer, everything.
Okay, so I could have a little small dialogue with him?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Right. So Pastor Google's dad, we know that we live in the last days, right? And I think that people need to be open a little more spiritually instead of carnally. No? What happened in here is written in scripture, right? Wars and rumors of wars. This right here, to me, is just rumors of wars. Yes, in a sense, people going and pass through whatever. This is how it does be, right? In these times, right? To me, while I follow the scripture, Revelation and Daniel and these things, right? I observe that what Trump really doing, he setting the stage for the Antichrist, you know? He's setting the playground there. It will not no war underneath Trump. That one, right? This is just Trump spitting, right? He's setting the ground for the Antichrist. And a lot of people in realizing that we need to have the Lord and Savior this time in here and fret not, because the end, the Bible said that, fret not when you hear about wars and rumors of war, because the end is not yet, right? So this is my interpretation, right? Pastor Google that. That correct me if I'm wrong or if you don't understand what I'm saying. But I want Pastor Google, because he does keep everything, to keep this voice tonight here. And by next year or year after, once he on this platform, I want him to replay this year what he's saying here tonight by following Revelation. This ground with Trump setting here now. He, as I say, he's setting the grounds, putting everything in place for the Antichrist. And the Antichrist is Obama, because Obama is coming back again like the Prince of Peace. But that could just be for a little while. And the real war will be between Russia, if you really read it good, it's really Russia and America going on have that war. Because when Obama stepped inside, he done stepping inside with Trump, with Russia in there. They didn't see all of them. There's only Russia, because Russia is part of the beast too, just like them, right? So them done no scriptures, all were playing. Why you think Trump say he would make it to heaven, right? The reason why he say he wouldn't make it to heaven, because everything we're playing here right now, play already. We just live in a third world in a sense, 400 years up for the slaves to come out of bondage. We head into the second Exodus. I don't know if people, a lot of people say, what nonsense she talking, but if they really take time to understand what it is I'm trying to tell them, we heading in a second dimension. This is where the place, this is where we see it happening. Trump is one of the 7 horns. We go and follow, take off the veil. We have to take off the veil from on our eyes and try to open it and see what it is happening. Spiritual wickedness in high places playing out right here in front of our eyes. So why we calling about This one, we fretting over the rumors of war the stage just being set to bring in the real war. But I put in all my dollars on the table. The next president going to be Obama because Trump reign going to be short.
All right.
Trump reign going to be short.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yeah, man. Okay. Dad, don't respond there. Dad?
Nah, nothing to...
All right, don't respond, please.
I'm not going to...
Yeah, please don't.
Thanks for the contribution.
Yeah, thank you very much, caller. It's 10:56. I end the program at 11 o'clock. So, Dad, your closing remarks.
Closing remarks. Trinidad and Tobago, we have made a colossal mistake. Well, you all made a colossal mistake and a phenomenal error in putting the United National Congress in power. They're going to totally mess up and destroy this country because it's what they do best. They did it from 2010 to 15, and they're going to do it from 2025 to 2030. And they are off to a very good start. All right? You all were naughty boys, and you wanted to see what happened, what there was in Scotland. So you ran away from the PNM, from common sense, good thinking. And you decided to go to Scotland to see, and then you found that the ground was as hard, that a yard was as long, that a song was as merry, that a cherry was as red. And you realized that this government hoodwinked you. Yellow is the code. Yellow is the code. I remember coming from church, dropping one of my members home. This girl from Nelson Street. Nelson Street. I said, who you voting? She said, well, yellow is the code. Right? That is the mentality. They're balling now. Because they're selling all their workers and they're selling all this. Come off, fire everybody. She was ruthless and cold, and they called PNM supporters stupid and dotish, and they are the ones who are in power. Because the UNC cannot win an election in this country without African votes. So, we have to eat the bread the devil eat for 5 years. And that devil, he needing all kind of bread. Right? Go on and sign up with America to destroy Venezuela. All right? They're going to leave this country in colossal debt because they're going to dip into that HSF. All right? And by the time this country is ready to be handed back to the PNM, it will be in a terrible mess. All right? So we have to stand up and fight and let our voices be heard. And I want to thank God for Pastor Google and the work he's doing. All right? And all the callers who called in tonight. Let's keep the flame going and let us see where we go from here.
All right, Dad. I want to thank you very much for being with me.
Anytime.
And you know that your contribution is always valued on Constructive Talk. I am sending you a picture of how much people was on the live viewing this evening.
Before I came on, I sent it on my Smart Speak profile, where I have close to 500 followers, and I sent it on my normal Facebook page profile, and I sent it out to people on my. I didn't get to send it out on my status on WhatsApp, but I sent it to a few friends. So let us keep advertising it and keep pushing the program and make it the biggest thing here, because I'm telling you, I don't think any other voices are being read like our voice here.
Yeah.
And good work, man. Good work. All right?
Yeah, Dad. I sent you the picture. You can watch it before you come off.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. Oh, that was good, man. That was good.
Yeah.
That is good. Okay. Very good for this hour in the night. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Because I was listening to my little 100.5 in the morning and thing with Blaze and them now. Blaze and Miles and them fellas.
Yeah.
I like to take them in. And the kind of figures they be calling partner is not this, you know.
Thank you.
the kind of figures are talking about Blaze of JW and Blaze and them.
Yeah.
And the numbers that fella going be calling, yeah. Let's keep this up. I think if we could drop your time a little earlier too, it would be better if you could catch people coming from work.
Yeah. You see how that go for the new year?
Yeah. For the new year, let's keep it pumping.
Yeah, man.
All right, good night.
All right, that you return.
Yeah, take care.
Thanks very much again for being on.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, man.
It was my privilege and pleasure.
All right, Dad. I love you to bits. I love him to bits. He always love my love.
CPEP and URP was meant to do two things. Keep black people poor and stupid. CPEP and URP was meant to do two things. Keep black people poor and stupid. CPEP and URP was meant to do two things. Keep black people poor and stupid.
We cannot be in a country where people are making money and generating income and so on, and finding and not being able to carry their fair share.
But that's what we've been seeing, unfortunately. And it feels as though oftentimes when we end up in that situation, it just trickles down. So even if, you might say, well, okay, you making plenty of money, so I will tax you accordingly. And what we've seen is that they take that tax, say, yeah, they'll pay the tax, no problem. But then the consumer, in the end, is who has to end up paying more money for the service that that company is providing.
Boss, if it is you go to a restaurant and you charge him, or stay home and cook.
Stay home and cook.
Oh Lord, bad maths, you know. Poor people, boy. It feel like they missing me one by one, 2 by 2, it's a 2 by 4. The more we add to the table, they keep taking away more and more. 99% suffering, and they say and they know for sure. Plus the 1% controlling 100% of the lives of the poor, lives of the poor. It's not enough, 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 it's not enough. Lord, it should take our power from a Rima to town. It's not enough. Our daily is almost 2 hours long. It's not enough. Every month is another 1,000 in gas. Salary come, you don't know when it's past. Lord, it's not enough. $5 to take a short drop. 10 to town with 1 million subs. Can depend on the bus, cause the system flop. So you're spinning like a top on your body. You must say, massive. You must say, massive. You must say, massive. No, I say I didn't know at all. And you must say, massive. You must say, massive. You must say, massive. They say I did not pass on. No, they say I did not pass on. See me the man with salary and TNT. That is so much fun. It's $3,053 monthly. And after your parents and you buy groceries, that is over $3,000. You can't even pay transportation fee. Yeah, what every shit do? It's not enough. You need cash so you sweep and mop. So you don't end up bankrupt. School fees and bills, none of them don't drop. You stay for it, stay top time. He must say, Martin. He must say, Martin. He must say, Martin. They say I need my battle. He must say, Martin. He must say, Martin. He must say, Martin. They say I need my battle. No. They say I need my battle. Lord, the price of mortgage sky high. A plus 20% just to qualify. When you feel the hardest part out of the way, after you qualify, it's 30 years to pay. Lord, is it not enough? Scream yes if banking corrupt, and they're robbing people non-stop, taking your money from your drug.
Right, so to those of you, I know that some of you are getting ready to come off the live. Let me say thank you to all of you for being on this evening with me. Thanks very much. We reached our 1,000 and more mark, but we want to thank all of you for being on. But as I said earlier on, for those of you who didn't hear me, and I just wanted to repeat it, that we need your support. We need your support to keep Constructive Talk live on YouTube and on Facebook. We have our internet bill to pay. We have stuff to pay for, stuff to get. And I am asking you, while you're live, let me know if you're willing to support me to continue doing what I am doing here on Constructive Talk. All right, so if you like the program and you want it to continue, then I need your support. I need your support. So just let me know, yes, no, we will support you, Pastor Google. I'll put up the information for you to support the program. But let me know if you're willing to support the program going forward. All right, we have our amplier bill that is due to pay. We have our electricity bill that is due to pay. Somebody saying no. Somebody put a thumbs down and they said no, they're not willing to support. Cool. So then why are you here? Well, let me just say that. So if you're willing to support, just give me some thumbs up or let me know yes or no. And you can WhatsApp the number that is rolling across the screen, 464-7003. I can send you the information. Somebody said nothing for you, suffer. Okay. Yep. So if you're willing to be a part of the program and to contribute and keep Constructive Talk on YouTube, let me know. All right. Let me know if you are willing to do so. All right. And let's do this. All right. So let me know if you're willing to support the program. All right, if you're willing to support the program, I'm willing to ask you to support the program financially. All right, I'll put up the information where you can make your contributions. All right, you can make your contribution to Constructive Talk. I'm seeing someone sending or calling in. Hello, good evening.
Hey, brother.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
All right.
Hello?
I'm fine. You know who it is, okay?
Yes, I know who this is.
There's no silly name. I was just listening there. They hear some people giving it some bad vibes. Don't worry them, you know. Sometimes sometimes you have to look to ignore those, right? Because we get them all the time.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. Okay. So but I will make my little contribution, you know that.
Yes.
I'll make mine. Even though our new government has created problems for us, but we'll get that over, okay?
Yes, I know that.
So, don't worry. The program is going well.
Thank you.
And I'm going to probably try to make an input one day.
Thank
you know?
I appreciate
because there are a number of things that we need to speak about.
Yes.
I'll make that input.
I look forward to that.
Yes, that will happen. Okay.
All right.
So you keep good.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk again.
Thank
all
you
right.
very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. Okay, bye.
Yes. So again, thank you for that call, encouraging call. So yep. So for those of you who are looking at our YouTube channel, I'm asking you to make your contribution towards the program. All right. Make your contribution towards the program. And let me know. Just put a thumbs up if you're willing to contribute towards the upkeep of Constructive Talk. So make your contribution to keep Constructive Talk on the air. All right. The bank is First Citizen Bank, and you can make your contribution through, any which way you choose to. So again, let me say thank you to all of you for being live with me this evening on Constructive Talk. And I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Please God. Yep, tomorrow we're going to continue our discussions here. Tomorrow I have a guest coming in, so I look forward to having him on. You have been asking for him, so he is going to be here tomorrow. Please God.
Brown Eyes Promotion presents We Outside Tobago Carnival 3, October 24th to 27th, an all-inclusive package, inclusive of breakfast, lunch, and accommodations. Smith Drive, Lowlands, Tobago, opposite Gulf City Mall. Limited spots. Book yours now. Call 713-4029. Accommodation options: 1 bedroom with a kitchenette, 2 beds, up to 4 people, or 2 bedrooms self-contained, 6 people max, queen size, plus single beds. Check-in time 2:30 p.m. Check out 11 a.m. Limited spots available. Prices with breakfast and lunch: $2,000 per person. Breakfast only $1,700 per person. Half payment due by July 31st. Pay off by September 30th. Non-refundable. Payment plans available. For more info and to book your spots, call 713-4029. We outside Tobago Carnival 3 from October 24th to 27th. Call courtesy Brown Eyes Promotion. We do not own the copyrights for the song playing in the background.
You give your hand to me and let me say hello, and now in party speak, my heart is beating so, and anyone can tell, you think you know me well, well you don't know me.
Hey guys, I am Nigel O'Connor, a singer for all seasons. I am that voice that moves you for every occasion. I am that voice that celebrates life moments one note at a time. I am Nigel O'Connor. You can contact me at 783-0054 or 754-3154. And oh yes, that's me singing in the background.
During our 3 weeks course, I gained a lot of knowledge and insight on how to communicate with confidence using the different techniques and skills taught. Another thing that resonated for me is the fact that the same way singers prepare their voice, increase their lung capacity by eating healthy, doing the necessary breathing exercises, is the same way someone who is going to present should also prepare their voice. For persons who are interested in participating in this course, I say go for it, because you too will be able to find your coping skills, or how the runners and they just psych up themselves when they're on the start line before they start to be focused to finish that race. You would be able to find your coping mechanism.
I recall more than 3 decades ago, a senior telecommunications manager, let's call him Michael. And Michael was assigned to the task of presenting the government's position at a regional conference. Michael struggled and visibly trembled, especially since he presented after the retired North American ambassador, who had the audience in stitches, laughing up every word. I'm Dr. Madonna Todd, and I made a silent vow then to help people like Michael, who are technically competent, but who struggle and succumb to fear when speaking in public. Now, as a communications architect, I partner with organizations and individual leaders to transform their leadership presence, including the way they express themselves. So, if your goal is to amplify your authentic voice, influence others, and lead with confidence, join me from October 28th to November 11th for our Communicate with Confidence online course. To all the Michaels, it's possible to overcome fear, step fully into your role, and lead with confidence.
Trinidad. It's back for 2 nights only. The explosive hit comedy stage play by Alan Charles. Why Didn't I Get Married? It's not good for a man to be alone. But what about the black woman? Is the church guilty of keeping women single? Or is there really a man shortage? Come laugh, cry, and think at a show that's more than a play. It's a conversation, not for the easily offended. Saturday, 1st November, 7 p.m. at USC Auditorium, Maracas, St. Joseph. Sunday, 9th November, 6 p.m. at Sapa, San Fernando. Tickets for the USC campus, $200 in advance, $225 at the door. Tickets for Sapa, $225 in advance, and $250 at the door. Get them at USC campus, A&A Pharmacy, Port of Spain, Maranatha Bookshop, San Fernando, Living Legacy Pharmacy, Arima, or online at theticketsellers.co.uk. Why Didn't I Get Married? Don't miss the comedy that everyone will be talking about. Brought to you by the University of the Southern Caribbean and Focus Arts Promotions.
Question today. Now that the man retire, people spitting fire.
Information provided by the speakers and or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.